So here, Jeff and I are having another session together, and the focus mostly will be, on biz dev and how to increase and stabilize Jeff's income. One of the good news stories I think you shared with me was that your wife's business or her income was going up. What can you remind me what she's doing?
She's a chiropractor.
Oh, that's fantastic. Where is she based out of?
She's based out of she works out of two clinics, Stouffville and Port Perry.
Yeah.
So I don't know if you know where Stouffville is. It's probably 30 minutes outside of downtown, let's say.
Can you
It's
remind me again where you actually are?
so I'm in between Port Perry and Stouffville. I'm in Uxbridge.
Oxford, yeah. So okay, so you're in Oxbridge, and she works with two clinics.
Yeah. And I mean, we've I've been trying to convince her to purchase, you know, I would love to be her landlord or for us to be her landlord.
I mean, it's not for me to say, but home-based businesses are legal. Why don't you put her a nice workshop in the backyard and she could work out of that?
I mean, yeah, we could do that. The the model that really is appealing is the one both clinics are kind of like health clinics with
Yeah,
a
yeah.
gym, like a functional fitness aspect of it. So the one in Stouffville, for instance, is a health clinic that a bunch of like RMTs, other chiropractors, uh, and personal trainers work out of.
Yeah,
So it
cool.
has like a gym space also. It's about, I don't know, I'd put it at 2,500 square feet.
Wow, that's pretty big.
Yeah, and they kind of cater towards let's say the upper middle class, like the people in the 40s to 60s that are focused on health and whatnot. And I mean, every time I go in there, I'm amazed how busy it is.
Well, I can tell you that as the population ages, chiropractors, physiotherapists, registered massage therapists, all of these people are getting busier and busier.
Yeah, yeah. Actually, she has I forget what the guy's name is. He's an NHL manager for coaches. What's his name? Actually, I don't even know if I could tell you his name. It's one of her clients, but anyways, it kind of caters to that upper middle class, upper middle, and where they they're they're open to spending money, for their health.
Oh yeah,
So,
for sure.
but the gym owner, he's in a long-term lease, and he continues to complain how the rents continue to go up, and I keep saying to my wife, I know him as well,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
I'm like, you know what, like he should really de-risk, and by de-risking is purchasing the property, and maybe there's a conversation that somehow we can get in on it and
Yeah.
purchase the property.
Well, I think that's a really, really strong idea. But just to remind you, just for the hell of it, I'm going to show you. I've shown it to you before, but I like these little workshops, as you know, and you've seen this one before, Jeff.
Yep.
So I bought this from North Country Sheds. It's got the metal roof. It's got the overhead door. It's got the man door, person door, and window. It's quite cute. And that's about a $12,000 investment. It's close to this little home over here. Believe it or not, that's an entire little home. And so we buy it as a shell. It has a spray foam insulation underneath, but not on the inside. We add electrical to it, and then we spray foam it, and I just whip through. Obviously, add electricity to it. And this is what it looks like inside now. So it's got a insulated floor. It's got spray foam insulation in the walls. The ceiling's probably about an R25, maybe an almost R30, or reverse cycle heat pump, LED lighting. It's pretty cute.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, you know, including everything, you know, the drywall, the spray foam, and all the other stuff that we've done, you know, it's probably about a $30,000 investment. And as we talked about, you know, you can rent them for anywhere from 700 to $1,000 a month. So the cap rate on it is probably, I don't know, probably what would it be? You know, 14 or 15%. You know, and if you were to build one, you'd probably do it cheaper and rent it for more than I would. So you might, your cap rates might be 20%. But I mean, there's no reason why you know, I mean, I'm not saying you should do it, but there's no reason why you couldn't put one in your backyard. And your wife could have at least part, she could work for 3 clinics, 2 outside the home and 1 in her backyard.
Yeah. Yeah.
And when she's not using it, she could rent it out to an RMT or a local physiotherapist who wanted to use it.
Yeah. I think the biggest thing, 100%, and I guess I was going to say the washroom thing, but you put a washroom in your tiny home in your backyard, so.
Yeah, I guess, I mean, you know, did I start recording this or not? I think I did.
Yes.
Yes,
Yeah.
I'm recording. Now, the reason I probably wouldn't put a bathroom in there, of course you can, but the reason I wouldn't is that a lot of the buildings that I've built have, you know, like houses that I have washrooms that are double loaded, if you understand that concept.
In terms of like there's there's
Well,
entryway.
I'll show you. I'm a horrible drawer, but I'll show you what I'm getting at. So let's say, can you see my screen okay?
Yeah.
All right, let's say you have a, oh, shoot. So let's say you have, you know, a house here, okay? Here's your house. And you have a, you know, I don't know, get rid of this so I can see. Hell, oh, there we go. So let's say you have washroom here, you know, on the ground floor of your house. So a lot of the buildings that I own or have developed will have a bathroom on the inside of a house, you know, which obviously has a, you know, access door like that. And what we often do is we'll add an entrance from the outside. It's relatively inexpensive. Oh, shoot. So what you have is you have a WC here, a water closet or bathroom, whatever. You know what a WC is, right?
Mhm.
And it's accessible from inside and also from the outside. And if you had your workshop, you know, your wife's workshop or whatever here, it's not that far. I'm not saying you would do it, but that's something to be, you know, because this is adding a door like this is a lot cheaper than putting a bathroom in here.
For sure. Yeah.
So in that little house, the 160 square foot bunkie in our backyard, did I tell you how much it cost to put plumbing to it?
No.
Okay. Are you sitting down?
Yep.
All right. So we have in there, so over here, we have a WC over here in our bunkie. And what we did was we connected so we have a little kitchen here as well. Just put a K for kitchen. We have a tiny kitchen here. And so we have a kitchen there. We have a bathroom there. Actually, I think the bathroom's in the middle. I don't remember anyway. It's in my backyard. I should know. But what we did was we connected the kitchen and the WC to the main home, right? And we are connected. We draw electricity from the main home. We draw water from the main home, and our sewer goes this way. Just the plumbing, just doing the burying the services, drilling through the foundation, connecting the water and the sewer to the bunkie, which is not that far away from the main house, maybe 30 feet. And then what we did was we put a macerator in the bunkie. Do you know what a macerator is?
Yes.
The only person on the I've ever talked to on the planet who knows what a macerator is.
Well, I rural lived for the majority of my life, and we had one, or my one of my previous houses had one in the basement, or yeah.
All
So
right, so because you know so much about it, tell the recording what a macerator is.
so basically what it is it's a grinder that the one that I had was, it's either a pit or it sits behind the toilet, and essentially there's you know, a 3 or 4 inch sewage pipe connected to it,
Mm-hmm.
kitchen or your toilet.
Yep.
And essentially there's a little grinder in it with a pump, and it grinds all the good things up, and it pushes it up into either a septic bed, or in your case, I'm assuming it pushes it into your house service.
Yep.
So
Yeah, exactly. So I'm going to tell you how much it costs in a minute. I'm just saving this. Pathetic. I have so much stuff on my computer now, I'm getting a headache trying to figure out where everything goes. All right. So, so by the time we put in the bathroom with all of the fixtures, it's got a shower, a sink, and a toilet. We did all of the connections, water and sewer. We put the macerator in, made sure the system worked. It was $26,000.
wow. How long were the guys on site?
Oh my God. They were swearing and cussing. I mean, it was not an easy job to do. It was not an easy job to do. You know, I mean, you're doing a lot of digging, you're doing a lot of trenching. The amount of effort and work involved was really, and the design was terrific. But it works great.
Oh, that's great.
And so when you're there, whether you're in the kitchen or you're in the bathroom, you're in the shower, whatever, you know, all the stuff going to the toilet, of course, as well, goes to the macerator, and exactly as you said, it grinds it up. It's kind of like an old-fashioned kitchen garburator, if you remember those things.
Yeah, yeah.
And you hear it go, it's grinding it, and then it shoots it through the system to the house, where it goes down into the sewer. So it works very, very well, but it's not cheap. It's not cheap.
No.
So so I would do pretty much anything to avoid that. Let me just show you one other solution that I really like. See if I've got it here. Yeah, I do. So there's a winery that I know pretty well, and believe it or not, it's a winery and a wedding center. And what they do, it's called Jabulani Winery, is, believe it or not, these are high-end weddings. Believe it or not, they have additional bathrooms that are just this. They are these little buildings, which you can see there's a little bit of exhaust there. And you know what they have inside them is just a composting toilet.
Okay.
And if you could get away with it at a high-end, wedding center, I guess if people are drunk enough, they don't care. You could probably do that in your backyard too, if you had to.
Yep.
Anyway, that's enough of that. So I mean, I'm not trying to intervene in any way. I like your plan. If you and the clinic owner and your wife were to find a building, and maybe when you're traveling around, look for a building that's for sale that might be appropriate.
Yeah, I mean, it would have to be specific to kind of where their location right now, and real estate around there is not cheap. There's
It's ridiculously expensive.
yeah, like equivalent to what they're in right now would be 1.2 million
Mm-hmm.
for about 2,500 square feet.
Yep.
So
Yeah, that's really, really expensive.
But
Yeah,
I'm thinking
I don't, I mean, I've never really understood why Port Hope and Oxbridge and the prices are so high. I just, I'm flabbergasted. I mean, Ottawa has high prices, but nothing like what you guys have.
yeah, I mean, I guess it's the proximity to Toronto, right?
Yep, it must be. I mean, but how far is Oxbridge from Toronto?
No traffic.
I
I
don't,
can be, if you say Toronto is Union Station or the CN Tower,
yeah.
um, at 5 a.m. in the morning,
Hmm.
I can be downtown in about 45 minutes.
Okay, well, yeah, okay, that would explain it then. If you're sort of Port Hope is more like an hour and a half or an hour and 45 minutes, I think.
Port Hope's more, yeah, Port Hope is definitely farther away. Um, thing what Stouffville has too is, and I guess Uxbridge is about 10 minutes away from 10-15 minutes from Stouffville,
Yeah,
is the GO line is
yeah,
they're really investing in the GO train, which
yeah,
you hop on an express train and you're
yeah.
downtown in 20 minutes. So you're getting a lot of people that work in the city.
Yeah, well, my daughter works in downtown Toronto and she lives in Whitby. And she gets on the GO train and 45 or 50 minutes later she's there. And so
Yeah.
Whitby home prices are off the charts. But I mean it makes sense, like she and her husband they had a townhouse in downtown Toronto which they were able to sell for $2.7 million. And they bought a
Mhm.
beautiful home in Whitby for, I don't know, 805.
Okay.
And that's a few years ago now when interest rates were, I think their mortgage is 1.7% for 5
Yeah.
years. And now Toronto people are just leaving Toronto in droves and they're going to places like, Oxbridge and Whitby and, yeah, and Port Hope too.
Yeah. I mean, it is astronomical, like places in my subdivision. One just sold around the corner for 1.7 million. And
It's incredible.
it's a subdivision house. It's not
Yeah,
anything.
no, I know. I mean, I'm envious, I have to tell you, because the prices in Ottawa are nowhere close to what you guys are seeing. All right, well, listen, the other thing that I'm going to talk to Scott about, I'm going to talk to him about 14555 County Road 2, because I'm seeing him, I think, in a couple of days. And I'm also going to talk to him about, the village. And I did get another note from, Woody's lawyer, Steve Shepherd, at least in his opinion, the fact that the access is by right of way is not an issue. It's a non-issue. I know
Gotcha.
I've had a number of people, not just you, I've had a couple of others, look at it and say, oh, gee, well, it's only got right of way access. I have to say that never rang an alarm bell for me because I have some properties that I own that have right of way access, and I never even thought about it because these are permanent easements, right?
The only reason I brought it up is, I was part of that conversation when me, you and
Yeah,
Woody were driving around. Like
right.
I haven't discussed that with anybody else.
No, no, but I mean, I think you were right to bring it up again because, and I went back to Steve Shepherd again, and I said, is it really a deal breaker? Because yeah, I mean, I can't tell you. I mean, the number of properties in Ontario, Quebec, I'm sure many other provinces and states where access is provided by right of way. I think the local people in the township there were giving Woody a hard time. I don't think they liked him very much. Um,
Oh,
I don't know why. He's a very nice person, but sometimes planners are just they're just difficult people quite often, right? I mean, you probably
I'm
dealt with a few planners.
yeah, I'm surprised he's selling it.
Well, he bought the brick painters.
I was speaking with him about a month ago,
Yeah,
and I mean, we were having conversations about whatever, but now that I think back, like I'm sure he was phoning to see, how I was doing or whatever. But now that I think back, maybe he was fishing around to see if I was interested in it.
yeah. Well, what I'm going to do is I'm going to ask Scott if he wants to buy it. And if he doesn't want to buy it, that's fine. But what I'm going to suggest, if you want, is I think if Scott doesn't want it, and I've got a few other clients looking at it, but if nobody wants it, I think you and I should list it.
Sure.
Why not? So put it in your notes, okay? And I'm gonna make you remind me next week, all right? Did you put these things in your calendar?
Yes.
Good. Put it in your calendar and say, ask Bruce if we're gonna list the village for Woody. Because
Now,
if I don't sell it, we'll just list it for sale and sell it through MLS.
are you you're still active? Obviously, you're an active realtor.
Not, I don't do a lot of realtor work.
My only thing is my board amalgamated
Yeah.
with Treb.
Yeah,
So I'm on it's called the Central Lakes,
yeah, I
which is
think you are.
basically Treb.
Yeah,
Um, but I don't think it's served like, it would be good that it goes on the Toronto board, but I might not have that local board is what I'm trying to get.
yeah, I know that. Well, maybe we reach out and get somebody local too. I don't care. But just reach out to me. We'll talk about it next week.
Okay.
I mean, listen, it's another listing. It can't hurt. All right. All right. So just reach out to me next week. We'll
Thank
talk
you.
about and just because we're recording it, I'm just going to show a few slides just so that we have it in the recording. If you ever want to go back to it. I actually like this thing quite a bit. I like it more than I think Woody does. And if I were a little bit younger and had a little bit more cash on hand, I might buy it myself. But anyway,
If
uh,
it was about an hour and a bit closer, Bruce,
yeah,
I
it's a hike. It's a hike. For Scott, it's a little closer. I mean, Port
yeah,
Hope it's about an hour and a half or 2 hours away, which is not impossible. But
for
anyway,
sure. I'm an
it's
hour away from Scott, and
yeah, I
Scott's
know, I
on the
know,
way.
I know.
So
Ideal for storage, contractor yards, boat, truck, RV parking, workshops, and more. Woody priced it at $474,500 plus HST. There's the address. It's like 3.5 minutes from downtown Smith Falls, which is pretty cool. 6.5 acres of highway commercial land. 7,600 vehicles a day, which is not bad. I built a plaza, a very successful plaza, 10,000 square foot retail plaza on a road that had 7,600 vehicles a day, and that was enough to sustain the the plaza. So I think that's probably reasonable. The Quonset hut on the property is 4,100 square feet. Woody did put in underground services, so he does have electricity, 200 amp service. I can't believe it. He bought all the fencing and the gate and left it on the site, didn't put it up. I said, Woody, why would you go to the trouble and expense? Well, my neighbor said I had to move the holes 8 inches, so I stopped. Well, move the holes for Christ's sake and put it up, but he didn't. It doesn't have well and septic. I asked him, did you put a well and septic in? No. Anyway, it has 2 rights of way, and that's the access. I'm not going to show any video here. Not going to show that. There's the survey. And there's the Quonset hut. He did a nice job in painting it. Like, he's a good painter, or at least he has people who are good painters. So this is the Quonset hut here. It looks quite decent. And he did a very nice job on the gravel. So he's got about an acre of gravel, and this pylon sign now has power, so I think that's backlit now. He's got a new sort of, I don't know, barn door here, new man door. I think new windows too. Close up of the signage. So the 4,100 square foot Quonset hut now it's just a storage building, and it used to be storage for, like, they put their the local golf club put all of their golf carts in here every winter.
okay.
And this was the old office. So if somebody did buy this, Jeff, the first thing that they would do is they would recreate this office. It's not very big. I think it's about 100 or 120 square feet. But this is the one area where you would insulate it and you would heat it, right? So that you have an office, and then the rest of it, you just use storage. Okay. This is just what the office looks like. There's the new electrical panel. There's the door. So he stripped it back to the frame, which I think was useful. All right, so you would reinstate that office. Highest and best use is everything we've talked about before: storage, workshops, contractor yards, sea containers, RVs, trucks, buses, cars, equipment, boat parking, one office maybe. It does allow car sales, could have a food truck there. And this was cool. It does allow accessory residential. So somebody could live on the site too. And you could have some kind of, fun stuff to do as well. Here's the zoning. I mean, it's got great stuff: automobile care, automobile sales, building supply, commercial yard, sale, commercial storage, custom workshop, um, industrial or business service, office, parking lot, which is great. Place of recreation, RV sales, you could have a restaurant, which I think means you could have a food truck there. You could have a showroom, you could have a warehouse, and this was cool: accessory dwelling, accessory residential. So I do actually like it, and I think you liked it as well. And what I was hoping is if Scott likes it, maybe on a Saturday we could all drive to Smith Falls. But you could, and Scott could drive and meet there. We'd have a look at it. It'd just give us an excuse to drive around again and go back to just the spot and see what's going on in Smith Falls and have lunch together.
Yeah, for sure.
All right,
Definitely.
so I will talk to Scott about that, and then he's not. I thought he would be really keen on 1455 County Road.
I thought when I found it, I was like, wow, this is
Yeah,
good. This is
I
ideal.
I thought so too. So here's 1455. What he didn't like was the fact that, I don't know, maybe a third of it or a quarter of it has environmental uses here. You see the green stuff here?
Yep.
So I think the people who did this sketch are, the people who are selling it. That's a little bit of bullshit, right? So here's the existing building, which is quite nice, and then they just sort of imposed, mini storage buildings on it. But if you think about it, I think they're trampling over the environmental area. So I don't think that. I thought it was bullshit, and I think that probably turned them off.
Yeah, I think you're probably right. I mean, the question is, and I think Scott was wondering the same thing, is can you gravel an environmentally protected?
The answer is absolutely not, except that I just did that. You want to see?
Yeah.
All right, I'll show you what I just did. So the answer is no, but it does happen. I'll show you what I just did. Hang on. So you're gonna laugh.
I mean, I think even if it was 2 acres of usable, there's still something there. Like you're right off
Yeah,
of Highway 2, which is a major,
yeah, it is.
you're just south of the 401.
Yep.
It's a growing area. You have a lot of snowbirds in that area. I think you would
Yep.
have a lot of guys looking for RV and boat storage and stuff like that, as
Yeah.
well as contractors. Um,
Yeah,
so
I think you could do something with it. And if you were in a better position, it's something that if Scott didn't want it, I think you could certainly consider buying it. But I get what you said when we started out. No, there's no way.
you know what, Bruce, and I know the next couple weeks I got to kind of figure out a lot of hopefully what direction everything's going.
Yeah, I know.
Um,
It's really important.
yeah.
I mean, we've been trying to figure that out for a while, but anyway, let me show you what we did. So there is an environmentally protected area. Just give me a second here. There's an environmentally protected area next to the barn dominium that I own, right? We've talked about that, I'm sure. And we have an old snowmobile trail. So do you remember the barn dominium?
Yep.
Yeah, you can see it there. So we have an old snowmobile trail, and I applied to the Conservation Authority for permission to put the snowmobile trail in, it's got to be 25 or 30 years ago. And I got permission. And then a lovely couple are buying a tiny home from Humboldt Creek, and they needed a place to park it, and they want to be in the Dunrobin area. I said, well, you could park it on the old snowmobile trail. It's not being used. It hasn't been used in the last 15 years. In Ottawa, we just don't get as much cold weather as we used to. And snowmobiling in this area has kind of gone away, right, as a pastime. So we went and had a look at it, and the trail is, 25 or 30 years old, so it needed a little bit more gravel. So look what we did. Now that's a hell of a road. So that's where their tiny house is going to go.
Okay. Is that another tiny home in the background?
Yeah, you saw it. Oh, you picked it up pretty fast. Yeah. So and that's a gray water pit, if you know what that is. So the reason I show you that is if the snowmobile trail hadn't been there, I wouldn't have gone and chopped down trees and gravelled it. I wouldn't have done that, right? Because you can get in real trouble. But if the Conservation Authority, if a neighbor complains, I'm just going to say, and it's true, that's just the old snowmobile trail. We're reinstating it. That's all we're doing. And then sometime in July, we'll roll a tiny house there, and they'll go, what?
Yeah.
I mean, listen, I'm sick and tired. This is, again, we're recording this, but just for you and me or Scott. I'm sick and tired of dealing with planners, because every time you go and talk to a planner, the answer is they only have a one-word vocabulary.
No.
So I don't ask anymore. And I have good relations with the Conservation Authority and everyone else, but I just don't ask anymore. It is the old snowmobile trail. It was gravelled. We have a culvert permit for it that goes back again 25 years. So we didn't do anything, in my opinion, that was wrong. We just reinstated the trail.
Yeah.
And if somebody wants to park a tiny home there, I'm fine with that. I don't care. And they could park, maybe they have a snowmobile, they can park it there.
There you go.
There you go. All right. So as far as 1455, 14555 is concerned, I agree with you. I think it has, and I will say this to Scott when I talk to him, I think it has really strong use case. And shit, where is it now? Fire rocks, what did you do with it? Here it is. It has a really strong use case. This, I think, is bullshit.
Yeah.
But when I looked at the zoning is good. It also has accessory residential. Can you see that up here? Which I think is terrific. And if you look at the actual building here, I think you could put a residential unit in there like presto magic easy. Right, because it's already got a little kitchen, it's got a bathroom, it's got everything, right? So all you need is a bedroom, and you're good to go. So you could have somebody who lives and works in that building. So I like it, and I think the use case is okay. Here's what I put down: only 33 minutes from Port Hope, already partly gravelled. The showroom is nice. The back workshop is decent. There's a shed on the side. The zoning is right, so you're allowed accessory residential, so you can create a live-work condition expensively inside the existing building. All he has to do is add fencing, an automatic gate, and video surveillance. He can rent the office space and the workshop, and if he has an apartment, that would be fantastic. And the rest of the yard would be small workshops and contractor yards, plus RV, truck, bus, equipment parking. Yeah, and I said here, if the zoning allows for it, you might get a used car in there. And then I said here, that I think you stay away from storage buildings because they're expensive to build. There's a lot of competition, and because of the wetlands, I think you'd get into a pile of, planning bullshit. Let's just check the zoning again, see if it allows anything that are,
I think it said something about it.
does it say something about cars here?
Yeah, any type of motor vehicle, excluding motor vehicle shop.
Where does it say that?
That's 0.19. But it says something.
Okay, any type of motor vehicle, what does that mean?
I don't know, but below
Any
it
type
says,
of more motor vehicle use excluding a body shop. So I think that means that you could have an auto dealership there.
and it says a recreational vehicle, marine or travel trailer dealership.
Ah, okay, maybe. So maybe you could have somebody selling used cars there. I don't know, but that would be useful. Now, I wanted to show you something else too. I know that Scott wasn't too keen on this, and maybe you aren't either, but I wanted to show you what I would do with the environmental lands. Okay, so I wouldn't gravel them and I wouldn't build on them. That I wouldn't do. But one of the things that if you have some environmental lands, this is the Bill Mason Environmental Center in Ottawa. And it's quite a popular spot. And look what they did inside. They built this little pagoda or pavilion. And you can see here, they use it as an outdoor classroom.
Okay.
It's very, very popular, right? I don't know if you can see it on your screen, okay, but that's what they do. And they put in nice pathways through the wetlands, raised so that, water flows underneath it. And so there's quite a bit you can do with environmental lands, because I have this concept, and I've said it to you before, tenants or residents who play together stay together. And it's true about families, right? I mean, if you and your wife and your kids, you play together from time to time, there's a lot of serious stuff in life. You can't play all the time, but if you play together, you probably will stay together. If you laugh together, you probably will stay together. So I'm not as negative about 14555 as Scott is, but I'm going to talk to him, like I said, a couple days about the village and about 14555.
Yeah, like I think 1455, as far as I can see, there's probably about an acre and a bit that's already cleared.
I think so, and maybe I think it was 3 acres in total.
3.5.
3.5, you'd probably get 2 or 2.5 acres usable, and 1 acre is probably going to be environmental. But even that environmental area, you can do things that are actually quite nice, and your tenants enjoy it. Like at the barn dominium, I've got a fire pit, I've got a barbecue, I've got kayaks. We got a boat ramp. I mean, we got a swimming beach. I mean, there's a lot of fun stuff to do.
For sure.
And people who are in those workshops, man, I mean, they stay for years.
Yeah, and I think, well, in my opinion, an acre to an acre and a half, I think with that plus that shop, I think you can generate some decent income.
I'm sure of it. But again, Scott has the money certainly to buy it. But he's very careful and he's very conservative. So
yeah, but I mean, then again, I think it could generate a lot more revenue, like you guys were talking about, than a bungalow in Port Hope for.
Oh my God, the bungalow for $751,000, that was maybe gets a 5 or 5.5%
Yeah.
cap rate. I mean, I wouldn't buy it. And, as his coach and friend, I have to give him advice, but I'm not the decision maker, right? He wanted to put in an over ask offer, and you and I did.
Mhm.
All right, so now I have another idea for you, which I think we've already talked about, but I'm going to bug you about it one more time. In terms of adding some income to your business, right? You've got your realtor, you've got the new group, which does air quality and HVAC and all kinds of other things too. And we've talked about some products that you can add. Have you got any new ideas? Because I have a couple of suggestions to add some products, but again, you may hate, so I apologize in advance if you do hate them, but I have a couple other ideas to suggest.
Do I have new products?
Mhm.
I do have, let's see here, if I can pull it up. I'm actually trying it right now.
All right, I'm gonna make you the co-host so you can share your screen.
Uh, You still there?
Yeah,
Oh,
just waiting.
oh, I have too many Zoom, share.
Yeah, so you just wiggle your cursor around, and at the bottom, sort of in the middle, you'll see a little green TV screen saying share.
Yeah. Sorry, like I was saying,
No, no, you're a Teams guy.
I'm a Teams guy.
You
Yeah.
are. We're on the Jeff team.
Okay, where are we here? Can you see my screen?
Yeah.
Comfortable, clean, safe. That's how your home should feel. Living in a home with poor air quality can challenge your immune and respiratory system, mental health, and productivity. Air quality has three pillars: filtration, ventilation, and humidity control. Your filtration system helps capture airborne particles on a whole home scale. Unlike air purifiers, which only service one room at a time, proper ventilation replaces stale air with new outdoor air, removing any built-up chemicals from off-gassing and CO2 from breathing.
I can speed
Older
this up.
homes weren't built to keep poor quality air from coming in.
So yeah,
Newer
this is
homes
all about.
professionally installed and
So
maintained.
what is
smart,
it? Turn off the volume there.
healthy, safe,
No,
and
don't stop the video. Yeah.
So what it is it's an air quality monitor, which
Yeah,
I've
very
been
cool.
playing around with before.
Yeah.
But this is a hardwired air quality monitor that goes right into the ductwork.
No way. That's so cool. And does it report to an app on your phone?
to activate your HVAC
Sorry, one
equipment
second.
automatically.
I got to turn this down. Sorry, can you still hear me?
Yeah, perfect.
Ventilation and humidity control.
Hey,
Sorry,
just
what
turn
was
off the
your
volume.
question?
I'll put it down to 0. I'd rather hear you talk.
So it's a hardwired, basically what it is it's essentially a building automation for residential. So what this is it measures your indoor air quality. And you what you do is you put it in to your house. It measures the indoor air quality from your ductwork. So essentially it pulls from everywhere. And then based on what your findings are, you add components. But how it also works is it also controls the components. So say you need more ventilation. Basically, this Haven IQ, you can set the parameter that, when it rises over certain parts per million, the Haven IQ will actually bring on your HRV or ERV. If the humidity level gets out of line, it will actually bring on your humidifier. If your VOCs get too high, it can bring on your air cleaner.
That's really awesome. And what does it cost you to buy something like that?
So they're actually very smart with their marketing. So you get your first 3 for $250 to try it out. And then moving forward, I think it's about $400 or $500.
Okay. And then you would install them, right?
You have to be a technician
Yeah.
to
So
install
that's
them.
good news. So if I wanted a couple of them in my house, you would come and install them and charge me for doing that. What would you, including these units, what would it cost, you to come to my house and install these things?
Yeah, so these guys are a Canadian company based out of BC somewhere.
BC, yeah.
So they have some residential guys doing it in BC. So they charge anywhere from $1,000 to $1,200 for the initial install.
Mm-hmm.
And then you install it and it takes about a week to calibrate. So basically what it is you put it in, it calibrates, it kind of gives you a week of data, 1
Yeah.
week of data, and then you build out from there. So it's not like a one size fits all thing. You kind of see what you need.
Yeah, that makes sense. That's fantastic. Well, that's the wedge product I think we've been looking for.
Yeah, I mean, for the residential for sure. Like on the commercial side, I think I've showed you it before where I have it's called Air Things. And I bought one product and basically it's an indoor air quality monitor that has a cell network, I guess you
Yeah.
could say.
Yeah.
And I had it at a community center measuring.
Mm-hmm.
And actually tomorrow it's going into a Buddhist temple.
Nice.
Yeah, so the Buddhist temple, what they're having is I guess at the beginning of their ceremonies, they burn incense.
Yes,
And
they do.
Yeah, and some of the elders are not overly, like they're having some sort of reaction to the incense. So they were wondering what type of air quality, like what they could do. So basically, I'm going there tomorrow for two things. I'm going to install this air quality monitor, and I'm also doing the maintenance on the whole building tomorrow. But the conversation was, let's put this monitor in, let's get some data, and then we will go from there. I don't know if I showed you the reports for the commercial stuff.
I think so, but I mean, you're the co-host too.
Okay.
So share away. Let's have a look at it one more time.
Can you still see my screen?
I'm looking, not yet.
Share screen.
There we go. All right, let's have a look at the report. So this is the kind of report you're going to get from the community center or for the Buddhist temple, right?
Yeah. So this one actually, typically I put my label on it.
Yeah,
but this
you
one doesn't have it.
you brand it, right?
Yeah. So basically this was from the community center. It kind of showed the peaks and troughs of CO2, humidity.
Oh, can you go back to the CO2 for a minute? I can't read the bottom there. Are these days or times?
So it's both.
Okay. So when is the CO2 peaking? What time of the day?
Yeah, I was peaking right around 4 or 5. They were having some sort of ceremony. I think it was actually indigenous ceremonies in this one.
Okay.
And yeah, that's when that's when it was peaking.
So at what point does with CO2 in the building, at what point do people get tired?
Yeah, so the normal level is under 800 parts per million.
Right?
So basically everything that's green
Is below 800.
is below 800. Action level is 800 to 1,000.
Yeah.
Which is kind of like you got to watch, and then red is like
Yeah,
you
it's
probably
big.
shouldn't be in there.
Right. So now you look at that, what would your recommendation be to the community center?
Yeah, so it's based on that is ventilation is basically how you get down CO2. You need more air changes.
Yeah, and if you get more air changes though, does it mean higher heating and cooling costs?
So traditionally, yeah, like if people think of ventilation, okay, well you need more ventilation, so let's just open a window.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, so number one, yes, you can do that, but you will incur higher energy consumption, where HRV stands for heat recovery ventilator.
Yeah, I know that.
And ERV is energy recovery ventilator. So essentially, by putting one of these products in, is you're bringing in fresh air but it's tempered fresh air.
Yep.
So that would be the solution for this area. But what I would actually do first, and the conversation is let's try to optimize what they have there. Let's try to optimize the equipment and the economizers and the fresh air intakes that they have on the equipment right now, and see if we can do something about it. And if that would be my first step with this.
Don't mind me, I spilled water all over a bunch of papers.
Oh,
So I'm just mopping up, mopping up the floor. Everything else, all right.
not a problem.
Yeah, yeah, those are legal documents that I just screwed up.
Oh, crap.
That's okay. You know what? I can print them a second time. Fair enough. All right, so I like what I'm seeing, and I like what I'm hearing, and this is for commercial, and in a way, it's not that different whether it's commercial or residential, really. I mean, you're looking at the same sorts of things, right? What is the CO2 or some other stuff that might be in the atmosphere?
Yeah, like I could essentially, I mean, put this business, it's a business monitor into a residential house.
Oh, for sure. But won't
biggest-
that other thing that you showed me from Haven, won't it do something similar?
Yeah, so Haven's like a hardwired solution, and to be honest with you, on the residential side, it probably has a more accurate reading of the overall environment because given that it's pulling from your return air, it's basically capturing your overall air quality. So it doesn't have to be in a room per se, right? Where this air things monitor has to be in the room to monitor the actual air, let's say.
Yeah, no, I get it. I get it. But I mean, I think all of this makes a lot of sense to me. And these are the kind of wedge products that I think will help you, penetrate the market. I mean, it's not that other people can't do it. It's just that, you've got one for residential, one for commercial, and you get your foot in the door. I think that's very useful.
Yeah, I mean, can we talk about this now, or do you want to talk about?
No, that's what we're talking about. I mean, how are we going to get you from where you are now to where you need to be in order to have a steady income? And one of the things that I think we should also add to that is whether or not you're going to apply for, a professorship.
Yeah. So yes, it's getting my foot in the door. Like I'm going tomorrow and doing the maintenance at this Buddhist temple. And then we're monitoring the air and probably that some ventilation work will probably come out of that.
Yeah.
I guess the biggest thing that I'm struggling with, not struggling, but trying to figure out is, am I an air quality company that does HVAC, or am I an HVAC company that specializes in air quality? And it's, in my mind, it's two different ways of building. Like,
Yeah.
what I'm doing right now is I'm basically a traditional HVAC company, and I'm getting my wedge product is this indoor air quality.
Right.
But it's like, do I build a HVAC company?
Well, I think you put it in your notes here. I'm just reading. As the company evolves, this is your writing, it's turning into a commercial HVAC company that specializes in indoor air quality as opposed to an indoor air quality company that does some HVAC. So I think
Yes,
you have already answered that question.
for sure. Where it's like, is that it's not that I'm an indoor air quality consultant. Like I'm literally going to be a HVAC contractor, I guess.
Yeah. So how are you advertising your services?
Yeah, so I do have social media, like a Facebook and Instagram. I'm just trying to look at I don't have anything. They're all in the truck. But how I'm getting traction is traditionally, when what I've done in past roles, is, you know, I basically door knock buildings I
Yeah.
want to work in. And I set up meetings, and that's kind of how I've been doing it.
So, okay, why isn't that working?
Do you have Instagram?
I do.
I do have an Instagram account.
Yeah, hang on a second.
I actually have a Facebook account too.
Yeah, I'm sure you do. Yeah, so, all right, so, yeah, I'm on Instagram, as well. Hang on a second. So you're on Instagram, right?
Yes.
All right.
Let me grab my phone.
And,
I know I follow you on my personal account.
yeah,
but,
yeah. What is your Instagram account? What's it called?
RBM group. Inc.
I'll find it. RBM Group Inc. I think this is you.
It's a blue.
Yeah, yeah, I see it. It looks nice. All right, so I'll share my screen with you. RBM Group. This is you, right?
Mhm.
All right, I'm following you. So you've got RBM Group here. That's very nice. That looks great. Get any leads from it?
Not yet, no.
Okay, let's go to Facebook and have a look at Facebook. All right. Get rid of that. So what is it, RBM Group on Facebook?
It is, I believe it's the same. Let me double check. I should know this. Yeah, I think it's RBM.
Yeah, here.
RBM Group Inc.
All right, so I'll show you. I can see it on my screen here too. So here you are. RBM Group. I'm going to see who your followers are. RBM Group check-ins, whatever. Okay. I'm going to like your page. There we go.
I don't know why you can't see. I don't know if they switched that. I was having a hard time finding the followers too.
Yeah, yeah. Facebook is a piece of crap, but it's okay. All right, I'm going to follow you. Okay. And is RBM Consulting Group, that's not you. Is that you too?
No.
No, okay. I'm just going to follow RBM Group thing. Okay. All right, let's go and have a look at it. So and are you on Twitter as well?
No.
No, most people don't care about Twitter anymore. Okay. Or X as they call it now. So
Yeah.
one of the things that I would expect to see here on RBM Group, and maybe it is here, is, you know, a little bit of a mention of the kind of stuff that, you know, we've been talking about. If you are interested in air quality, we have something, you know, from Air Things that will help monitor your air quality. And if you're at home and you're worried about that, we have something from Haven that will help you. Is that on your social media somewhere?
So the Haven thing is like, I'm trying it out in my house right now.
Mhm.
If you scroll down, like I have a healthy home package that we've said that we're doing.
Oh, here it is. Yeah. Oh, that's very cool.
But not like a specific, this is what I use and this is the price. And I know I need to put that.
Yeah, I think you should do that. Wait till you've tested out Haven and make sure that you like it. And then I think you should put on your social media, you know, listen, we're having some success with Air Things in a commercial setting. And this is what it costs approximately to put one into your premises, and here's what kind of, you know, information you're going to get out of it. And then for if you have a residential concern, we put in, you know, something from Haven, and this is the kind of information. And you're looking, I think in the case of Haven, you're looking at around $1,200. In the case of Air Things, how much are we talking about?
I was gonna say to monitor the air quality for a week, it's $149.
Yeah, I mean, that's perfect. I mean, these are wonderful wedge products. And I'm assuming that they also show up on your website.
They will,
That
yes.
boy, that boy. Okay. So now the next question is, how are you marketing yourself? Well, you've got Instagram, you've got Facebook. Is there anything else you're doing?
So I'm trying to get this stuff kind of more content on there, and then the next thing is gonna be the Google Ads and SEO.
Before you do Google Ads and SEO, what about some simple Kijiji ads?
Oh, sorry, I have done those.
Any luck from those?
Nothing. No.
Now, how do other people in your industry, how do they advertise?
So the thing, um, I keep saying I'm struggling with so in my industry, residential and commercial are very different. It's almost
Yes,
like
I know that.
there's not many companies that do both. Only like maybe the small guys. So commercial is kind of very old school, kind of doing what I'm doing in
Yeah,
terms of like knocking on doors and
yeah,
talking to the right people.
yeah.
Um, where residential is more, so I guess you could say that is like more of a sales process, where residential is marketing. You know, they're Google Ads, SEO, trying to be top of mind. There is the odd guy on Kijiji and Facebook.
So, we've talked about it before. What about,
The
a
signs?
dozen or 24 lawn signs?
Yeah, so I talked to a guy about getting 100 or 50 of them. He keeps bugging me. And then I saw this post on my Facebook community,
Yeah.
and it basically was bashing these salon signs. And it made me second guess myself.
Well, I mean, why do politicians, I mean, listen, when there's a municipal election, do you see any lawn signs around?
100%. Yeah, no, I know what you mean, like put them on the houses that I'm working at. And to be
Yeah.
honest with you, I haven't really I've worked at, well, to be honest with you, I'm hardly generating any income right now.
I know that. I know that. That's why we're
Um,
talking. Why don't you, don't buy 50 of them, buy 12 of the damn things and put one with permission at the Buddhist temple, put one at the community center. How many properties do you own? You own the house. What else do you own?
I own the triplex up in Peterborough.
Yeah. I mean, so you could put one, I mean, in front of your house, and you could put one in front of the triplex, one in front of the Buddhist temple, one in front of the community center. So you got four. I mean, there's
Mhm.
nothing wrong with that.
Yep.
They work. That's how politicians get elected. I told you that if you want to know which candidate, mayoralty candidate or councillor is going to get elected an election night, all you have to do is the day before, go around and count the lawn signs. That's it. Almost inevitably, let's say you and I were running against each other in Uxbridge, and I had 150 signs up, and you had 400.
Yep.
You could be almost positive that the next day you're getting elected, and I'm not.
So what would you put on the lawn sign?
Oh my God, didn't we talk about that? Okay,
So
okay, hang on. We're gonna design one right now. And let's do it together. All right, hang on.
one sec here. I'm gonna pull up the email from,
It's okay. We can always design another one. All right. Can you see my screen okay?
yep.
All right. So here is our lawn sign, right? Okay. What should it say? Well, it should say RBM group, right? Right, that's you?
Correct. Yep.
Okay. And do you have a tagline yet?
Building environments.
Oh, I love that one. Yeah, that was much better than mine. I came up with one, but it sucked. Whatever. Oh my God, I'm sucking. Wanted to make this, whatever. I don't know. Whatever. Okay. Okay, so we were RBM group building environments. Okay. Now, what are the things that you're selling?
Commercial, residential, HVAC.
Yeah, but I mean, I'm driving by, I see RBM group building environments. Why am I calling you? Is your air conditioning out? Is your furnace not working? Why do people call an HVAC guy?
Service, maintenance, repair.
Uh, Service maintenance repair of what?
Heating and air conditioning.
So need your furnace, what?
Repaired.
Overhaul,
So
repair.
here's the thing, Bruce. I get what you're saying.
Yeah.
My thing that I was struggling is, I guess originally I thought I was going to be a consultant,
I know.
not necessarily doing the work. Now I'm seeing that I need to probably do the work, and I got to go out and get the work, and I know how to get mechanical work, but in my mind I was trying to get air quality work.
But you and I there's a disconnect between the two of us.
Yep.
And that is, if you had $500,000 worth of work to do, monitoring air quality for commercial establishments or residential homes, and fixing furnaces, putting in new furnaces, putting in new air conditioners, you have $500,000 worth of work that suddenly appeared next week.
Yep.
Most of that would be subcontracted out. You would find people to help you. You'd say, listen, I've got a $100,000 job over here. Will you help me do this part of it? Your part of it is 50 grand, right? And you're going to make anywhere from 15% to maybe 50% on their work. So I think it's your job to generate sales. And then you're doing the consulting, you're doing all the thinking, you're doing a lot of the design work, you're doing a lot of the specs, and then you're getting other people to do the work. But if you don't have the work, then what are you? Right? Because the consulting comes from the sales, right? If I come to you and say, look, I'm building a triplex, I'm building a sixplex, I'm building a 10plex, I'm building a new plaza, I need heating, ventilation, and air conditioning solution, right?
Yeah.
You're going to do all the brain work. It doesn't necessarily mean you're on the tools.
Okay.
But you need the sales. Am I missing something? Because you and I have been doing this for a couple of weeks now.
No, I know. It's just I'm figuring it out. Like, I'm figuring it out as I go.
I know that. This is not me criticizing you. It's just I'm trying to
No, it's not.
understand. Okay, need your furnace serviced. What else would you
Air conditioning.
condition. Oh God, I don't even know how to spell it. You see what I'm doing here?
Yeah,
I'm getting frustrated with myself by typing so.
I get it. I'll put this together and I'll send it.
No. I'm just doing some ideas for you, okay? I'm not frustrated with you. I'm frustrated with me. Worried about indoor air quality at home or at work. I know you'll do a better job. I mean, your marketing is actually better than mine, but I'm just trying to give you some thoughts here, okay?
No, I get,
Okay, so need your furnace service, need a new air conditioner, worried about indoor air quality at home or at work, got a new residential or commercial build and want a cost-efficient and green HVAC solution. Now, you remember that I think it's very important to say text us for a free quote. And what text number would you give them here?
my cell, 647,
Say it again, what is it?
647,
Yep.
229, 3871.
Did you create an Emily at rbmgroup.com, something, an address?
I did, and then I stopped using it, to be honest with you.
Well, what is it? Was it Emily?
It was Emma.
Emma? I mean, you could stop using it if you want, but Emma at, what was it again?
RBM.com.
RBM Group, though, right?
RBMgroup.ca.
I mean, you could change any of this stuff if you don't like it. All right. So I better save this. Okay. RBM Group lawn sign sketch. So you know that the most effective lawn signs are reversed out. Do you understand what that is?
Yes.
All right. So it means that the background is your blue and the writing on it is white.
Oh, okay.
Do you
I was thinking
understand?
something else.
Okay, so let's just look at.
So it's the quote that I got is for one solid color,
Yeah.
50
What was
polyvinyl
the quote? How
signs.
much was the quote?
Here, can I share this with you?
Yeah, well, hang on a second before you do that. I want to show you. Okay. So just bear with me for another minute, because I really actually know this business pretty well. So do you see how this is a red background with the writing reversed out?
Yes.
That's what I'm talking about. That's what you want to do. Oh, sorry, excuse my language. So I'm going to put that in your. So let's just go back here. So you can see this is a lawn sign for, this is probably a politician. Yeah. See how he's reversed out here?
Mhm.
These are much more effective than this one here, right? Which is not reversed out. So this is dark writing on a white background, and this is reversed out.
So you're saying get 4 or 5 of these, or should I do like 50 of the ones like to the right of it? The lawn bag signs.
Hang on a second. Give me 1 second. I'm just putting this in here. All right, what was the question?
Should I be doing the lawn? So you're saying you mentioned 4 or 5.
Yeah, these are the lawn signs that you want.
Okay, not the lawn bag signs.
Sorry, what are you talking about?
The lawn bag signs, like the Vista print one that you showed me to the right of it.
This one?
No, sorry, go back, please.
Yeah. This one?
Yeah,
That's a bag, right?
yeah, the lawn bag signs, yeah.
Which one do you prefer?
Well, the other ones are nice. This is the one I originally thought you were we were discussing, like the ones that you see at the street corner sort of thing.
How are they different? I'm missing that. How is that, this one, different from, say, these?
Um, those are corrugated ones,
Yeah.
and the other ones are literally like the lawn bag.
Which one do you like better? I mean, it's entirely up to you.
I mean, it's just you get like the lawn bag signs, I can get 50 for $300.
Wow, that's really good. Well, go with the lawn bags. Does that include the little metal frames?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's fine. That's, I mean, who cares? I mean, what, you know, I'm, these other ones here, I get now what you're saying. These guys here, they'll cost you probably $10 or $15 each. The ones that you're talking about are about $6 each, right?
Yeah, I
The
guess that's
bags.
what it puts out
Yeah,
to. Yeah.
that's fine. I mean, I don't really care. It's just that we're gonna try and take some of your marketing out of social media, out of digital marketing. Nothing wrong with digital marketing, but it's not generating enough leads. Am I wrong?
No, you're not wrong. Um, like the success I've had is like, I'll show you like these drop-offs I've been that I have.
Oh, those are great.
So that's where this I did the first 50 and I was gonna revise them, but I'll do the lawn bag signs. I'm not gonna.
I
You're
want to make sure, look, it's part of my job is to make sure that that a month from now you're starting to generate serious income. Like I think it's just going on too long, Jeff, and it's wearing you down.
for sure. I I I think like, tomorrow I have a full day. Um, yeah, no, I'll try it for sure.
I mean, it just we have to figure out some stuff. Okay, now something else I wanted to share with you. There's a young man that I know. His name is Matt Tebow. I did a little coaching with him. He's young, he's in his 20s. And you mentioned about 20 minutes ago some Google advertising, right? Some Google search engine optimization. I would not spend $1 on Google ads or search engine optimization that I was doing myself. And you may have somebody that you're confident can help you with that, but I don't think you should tackle that alone.
No, I think you're right.
So this is Matt Tebow, and he's really good at this. So here's I'm on his email list. So here's something he sent me, I guess, a couple of days ago. Yesterday, we did a checkup call with one of our new painting clients. So he only represents contractors, right? That's
Okay.
all he does. He doesn't help, people who are, I don't know, selling furniture, I mean, or selling chiropractor services. At least I don't think so. So he does campaigns for people who are contractors. So he has a new client, and 2.5 weeks into launching the campaign, he has booked almost 24,000 in sales. The coolest thing, one of the best wins we got right out of the gate, was helping him send out a reactivation email campaign to an existing list of prospects he already had. The result was a commercial painting project worth $12,000. The rest was from new leads generated from Facebook and Google advertising. He's really good at that. Remember, sometimes the easiest wins in your business are already sitting right underneath your nose. If you're looking to grow your contracting business, we can handle all your online advertising for you. For more information and 100% free strategy, call here. All right? I'm going to forward that to you. And I'm not saying you should hire him, but a lot of my clients have hired this kid, and they've gotten really good results.
Do you know roughly the price point?
Yes, I think that it depends on the campaign, right? I mean, it could be anywhere from $1,000 to $1,500 to some of the bigger contractors are $10,000 or $15,000. So if you were running a $500,000 company a year, what would you budget? What percentage of sales would you budget for marketing?
I've heard 10%.
Yeah, like as a coach, I probably spend about 10% of my time on biz dev, right?
What is it?
A big pardon?
Sorry, you spend 10% of your time on biz
Biz dev, business development,
Okay.
business
Gotcha.
development. So I probably spend about 10% of my time on business development. So if I probably work 60 hours a week, so I'm doing, a few hours a week, 5 or 6 hours a week, promoting, the coaching practice that I run. I'll do a free clarity call with people. I'll answer emails from people who are just sort of putting their toe in the water. I'll do some more blog articles. I'll do a little bit of YouTube or Facebook marketing. So I spend time at it. Some weeks it would be 0%, and other weeks it might be more. But I bet you over the year it's probably 10% of my time, and it's mostly my time. Like I can't use somebody like Matt Tebow. He specializes in marketing for contractors. So he couldn't help me with coaching. He tried, by the way, just because we're friends. And I said, I don't think you'll get anywhere. He didn't. I mean, coaching is completely different. It's a very interpersonal thing, and people don't want a marketing agency. But I think, listen, if you've got somebody who's doing Facebook and Google, for you, that's fine. I can't remember. Maybe you do have somebody doing it.
I have like a young lady helping me.
Yeah.
She's kind of like a startup company, and it's like, I think she's doing a good job. But I will give that guy a call because she's like a social media agency, not necessarily like a advertising agency, which apparently are two different things.
They are very different. So the difference is that hang on. The difference, and that's a really good point that you just made. The difference is that most of these marketing companies, what they can do is they can give you, very nice logos, letterhead, pretty websites, and nice posts on different social media. They can do that very, very nicely, but they
Yep.
can't make the phone ring. Okay. And what Matt, because I helped Matt when he was starting up, and you gotta remember, maybe he's 28, so he's not old. But when Matt was starting up, I said, Matt, if you're gonna start up another marketing agency doing business cards and logos, I'm not gonna coach you on that. I mean, I'm not very good at it, and I wouldn't add much value. So no, I really want to be an agency where I can make the phone ring. So, okay, now we're talking. If you want, I will introduce. I can do it right now. And it's free. He'll give you,
Sure.
a 45-minute call. I won't charge you anything, but I'll introduce you if that's okay.
Sure, that'd be great. Thank you.
All right, so I'm going to do it right now. See, I think I would probably change this because when I read that, it's, well, maybe don't change it, but it looks no, it's fine. What the hell? I'll stop complaining.
No, you're not gonna hurt
No,
my feelings, Bruce.
no, I'm not trying to hurt your feelings. I mean, I certainly wouldn't want to. I'm just thinking that to me, it looks like more about indoor air quality than about HVAC. But
Well, and so I know I need to update this. So this is like, I know it sounds like a stupid realization, but like I literally realized, a week ago that I'm a HVAC company, not a indoor air
yeah,
quality.
you put it very beautifully, I thought. I mean, as soon as I saw that, I said spot on. And I actually emailed that to you, Jeff. I think you are an HVAC company that can improve air quality. And that's part of the service, right? I think that's brilliant. I really like it. And I want you to be thinking that Jeff Moody, am gonna generate $500,000 worth of HVAC work. I'm gonna do the brainiac stuff. I'm gonna do the business development stuff. I'm gonna do the sales stuff. I'm gonna do the design. I'm gonna set up the specs, but I'm gonna have a bunch of subcontractors and sub-trades who do most of the work.
You know what? I agree. You know what my biggest problem is, Bruce?
No.
It's that, so the HVAC business model, the commercial business model or whatever, like I can comprehend that because it's tried and true, and there's, plug and play methods of I'm an HVAC commercial contractor.
Right.
So I can like visualize it. I can see that. There's numbers to that, where I guess I'm getting tripped up because I can't comprehend this business model. Maybe that's not I don't have an example of somebody doing this business model in this space. Does that make sense?
No, because look, one of my closest friends, he's a little bit older than you, not much. His name is Nick Katchmar. He's in this space, and I've been coaching him for a long time, and he's based in Kemptville, Ontario. Very successful. I mean, hugely successful, and he generates well into the seven figures, okay, in HVAC business every year. He does have, I think, 3 technicians, and he's licensed, same as you. He's licensed, and he does have 3 technicians working for him. But he has the jobs that he is quoting on and he's winning are way beyond the ability of himself and 3 technicians to do. So he has a tremendous number of subcontractors and trades who work for him as required, right? And he makes money on those guys. I think there are plenty of guys in Toronto who do the same thing. The way you control this thing is where you control the sales. When you have the money coming to you, you have the final say on everything, on what the design looks like, who's doing what, client satisfaction, client follow-up. I mean, so you don't necessarily have to be, hammering and sawing. Like Nick is probably 50 now, and you're only 40, I think.
I'll be 40 this year. Yeah.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
he's 10 years older than you, and he doesn't, listen, when he was in his 30s, he was on the tools, but now that he's in his early 50s, he doesn't do much of that. He's just mainly the brainiac.
Yeah, and I know it sounds stupid, like literally, like I'm coming to the terms of like, okay, I'm gonna have to have a couple technicians, like once it grows, right?
Yeah,
Like I'm almost stopping myself, to be honest with you,
I
Bruce.
think you are, and
Like,
and I love you to death, Jeff, but I want you to get, I mean, Jesus, I'm sure we can get you $200,000 worth of work. It doesn't necessarily mean you have to do every single job. It does mean that you will be surrounded by independent contractors, trades and subtrades who are looking for work. And by the way, the good news, kind of, is that there's not as much work to go around. For the first time in probably a decade, contractors and others are coming to me and saying, I don't have enough work. I haven't heard that in a decade. Like in commercial construction, at least in Ottawa, has slowed down to a crawl.
yeah, things have slowed down. I mean, there's still a ton of work out there. Like I think I mentioned it. I met up with a guy yesterday to do subcontracting. It looks like I'm going to subcontract for him for a couple days a week.
Perfect. But I
So,
mean, but you do understand the concept that if you work on your biz dev and you have the sales coming to you, it instead of you being a subcontractor to other people, nothing wrong with that. You'll reverse that and you'll do more of the brainiac stuff and less of the tools.
yeah, 100%. No, like the subcontract stuff, I'm not, yeah, like I'm building his business and I'm not building my business.
Exactly. Okay. So remind me what you're licensed at. Are you a gas fitter?
I'm a refrigeration and commercial refrigeration HVAC mechanic.
So licensed commercial refrigeration and
HVAC. The proper, it's 313A is what it, and gas fitter, I guess you could say.
he's a licensed commercial refrigeration and HVAC technician, right?
Yep,
And what is the proper designation?
313A. And you said you had another client in the space. What's his company?
What's
Do you
that?
remember? The client that does the HVAC
Yeah.
stuff? What's his company or what's his name?
I think it's just Kempful Heating and Air Conditioning, something like that. I'll see if I can find him. Hang on. And he's been really successful. Let's see. Maybe this is him. Yeah, here he is. I'll share my screen with it. But before I do that, just read the email and see if it's okay.
Yeah, Uxbridge is spelt with a U.
How do you spell it?
U, just change that O to a U. There, yep. Looks great. Thank you.
All right, so this is Nick's business here. Oh, maybe I'm sharing the wrong screen. I don't know what I'm doing here. Hang on. All right, so this is him, Kempville Heating and Air Conditioning.
Okay.
And that's Nick, and he has 3 people working for him, right?
And what, with 3 guys, what's he doing roughly? Do you know?
Yeah, so so he does a lot of subcontracting. So he's got his when this picture comes up, you'll see in a second here. He's got I think 2 licensed technicians. Yeah, the 2 lads there on the left. Then next to Nick was his wife. She does the bookkeeping and accounting and stuff like that. And this is his company, and he does in the low millions.
Okay.
All right. And when he has a bigger job, commercial or residential, that he can't handle the volume with his small staff, he subcontracts it, and he marks them up anywhere from 15 to 50%.
Okay.
All right. And he's very successful. We hope you find everything you need on our website. Kempville Heating and Air Conditioning is focused on providing reliable, high-quality service and equipment. We will do everything to meet your expectations. We specialize in residential and commercial HVAC, offering a wide variety of products and services tailored to each of our clients. Whether you need a new furnace, air conditioner, water heater, or looking to reduce your home heating and electrical bills, we can help. All right? It's very simple, and he's like Jeff. I mean, I really like Nick, and I have a lot of respect for him, but that website is not, it's not 4 stars or 5 stars. That's a 2.5-star website, and that's being kind. It doesn't matter. He is very successful, and guess what? He has signs on his trucks. You saw the trucks, right?
Yeah, no, I get it. And once again, that goes back to, and I know it sounds stupid, Bruce, and it's in my head, like literally in my mind, I always thought I was doing this like cutting edge, like indoor air quality shit, where now I'm just like, okay, well, actually, I'm a mechanical contractor and I'm getting it in my head, but I need to build that way.
Right, but I mean, there's no reason why you can't build. I mean, if Nick is a great guy, but he has a $2 or $3 million a year business. He makes a lot of money, in excess of $600,000 a year in his jeans, right?
Mhm.
Right, which is not too shabby.
Nope.
And at this stage of his career, he is mostly doing, like I said, the brainiac stuff. He's got a great personality. You have a great personality. People like you. I don't know why, but they do.
I don't know either, but
No, people like you and they trust you. And Nick is exactly the same.
people trust me because I don't sell them. I
No, you
literally,
don't. And Nick is exactly the same. He doesn't sell anybody. And what he does is he provides them information that helps them. And then if they want to buy, then they buy. But he doesn't sell. People buy.
now and this is a realist, and I know we spent a lot of time, Bruce, and I won't take much more of your
Oh,
time.
no, I'm happy to. This is important. We got to get it done.
So,
Oh, excuse me. And by the way, when he started out, we painted his truck, the decals on his truck, and he used lawn signs all over Kempville and all over the southern part, the eastern Ontario. I don't remember I don't think he had 50 lawn signs, but he probably had 20 or 30. And that, between the
two
truck,
questions.
because that was before Facebook.
Like my truck is basically, I bought one of my friend's old truck. Well, it's a 2018, but it's a F-150 white truck with a cap. And then I was like, okay, well, this is good enough for, it's unmarked for real estate. I was like, it doesn't look overly worky, but it's a work truck. And I'm like, my question is if I mark that truck up, how's that gonna, like, do you think that's a deterrent for my real estate business?
I do not. And I want to talk about the professorship as well. I think you should apply for that.
I'm gonna apply for it because, either way it will make a decision. Like, I'm not gonna overly think about it because I'm gonna apply for it. If I get it, then I have a decision. If I don't get it, then I don't have a decision.
Exactly. But listen, I was a professor for many years. First at Carleton University School of Architecture, and then at the University of Ottawa's Telfer School of Management. And right in my contract, I disclosed to them that I had a coaching practice, a consulting practice, and a realtor practice.
Okay.
And
well, I mean,
I just said, look, now obviously you don't bring, excuse me. Now, obviously you don't bring your HVAC business and your realtor business into the classroom per se. You don't mix those things up. But I was teaching entrepreneurship at the Telfer School of Management. I was teaching architecture, and I made sure that my professorship and the writing that I did and that the research, that was one, sort of pillar of my life. And then the other two was the coaching and consulting and the realtor work. And there was some overlap, there always is, but
yeah.
I worked for Carleton and then the University of Ottawa for over 20 years. There was never an issue. And so I did disclose it to my dean, and it was in my contract. I disclosed it, and they said, no problem. Out of the 300 professors at the Telfer School of Management, I would guess at least 250 of them had side hustles.
Yeah, like, I mean, the one professor that they just hired last year, he would be around my age. He's got a full-blown residential company. And I mean, yeah, so
I think you should apply for that. And you are a wonderful teacher. People like you and they trust you. Your students will love you, and they probably do. How have your ratings from the students been?
honestly, like, so I jumped into it 3 weeks ago. I don't even know if I would have a rating. Like, literally, one of the professors got into a car accident. Next thing you know, they're like, hey, can you hop in and teach full course load? And it was
Wow.
6 hours of lecture and 6 hours or 8 hours of lab.
Wow.
Um,
That is incredible. And so at the end of the year, your students, I'm sure, will get to mark you. You know that, right?
well, we'll see. I mean, were they my students or was I just a supply
Well,
teacher?
I'm sure because you're finished up the term that what will happen is the administration will give you a sealed envelope. You will give it to, a responsible person in the class. How many people in your class?
Well, the labs and there was probably 80 or like between the two lectures, there's probably, I don't know, 100 kids.
Well, 100 kids. So each of those kids will get a form, and they're able to, grade you. And today, it might not be paper, it might be an app, right? But you will definitely get a grade.
Okay.
At Carleton, it was out of 5. And the University of Ottawa, I think it was out of 5 too. So I generally scored with my students anywhere between 4.2 out of 5, and I think the highest would have been about 4.6 or 4.7. So anything that's above 4 out of 5 is considered, for professors, is considered good or very good. Anything above 4.5 is considered excellent. So some years I would score 4.5, 4.6, 4.7, which is excellent. Some years a little bit less, 4.2, 4.3, 4.5, which is considered good. If you're below 4, if you're in the 3s, that is a concern. Then you think, well, how do I improve on that? If you're in the twos, you probably get fired. All right, and I'm sure that will not happen to you. I bet you'll be in the fours.
Yeah, I don't even have an employee ID number at Humber College yet. Like they're
Well,
still,
they'll get that. They'll get that.
yeah.
But I think having that student feedback is very useful. But let me just complete the thought, okay? One of the things, because their reviews, the student reviews of you are anonymous. Your reviews of the students is not anonymous. In other words, if I was a student of yours and I got a failing grade, I know that you failed me. If I got an A, I know that, well, you know, Jeff likes me and I did pretty well. So unfortunately, the student appraisal of you is anonymous. The university will not tell you if you get a couple of bad reviews. The university will not tell you who they are. They will not, and that is a bad thing. And I'll tell you why. So back in the day when it used to be by paper, like I said, it's probably an app now, but back then when it was paper, I would have 65 students in my architecture class, and maybe my overall mark would be 4.4 or 4.5 out of 5. So pretty good. And I would read through those reviews, and so on the top would be a sheet which would summarize all of it. So just a summary, it says, okay, presentations were good or very good. And you know, different aspects of my teaching. All right, so there's a summary sheet. Then you go into the individual, and you get, there are no names attached to it, but then you get the actual information from each student. And out of 60 students, I would get, say, 57 very positive reviews, like great lectures, really entertaining, learned a lot, very challenging. Thanks for your time, Prof. But every year, I would get 1 or 2, sometimes 3, which would say, I hate you and everything you stand for. You suck. So if you read 57 reviews of Jeff Moody that were very good or very good, very, very good, and 1 or 2 or 3 that were really horrible and personal attacks, what would you remember from the year?
Well, they say it takes one bad thing to erase 10 good things or something. So
yeah, so I would read 1 or 2 or 3 every year. I would read 1 or 2, 3 really personal. You know, and maybe the student was having a bad day. Maybe he broke up with his girlfriend or his boyfriend. You know, and he took it out on me, or maybe he just didn't like me. So after a couple of years, Jeff, I stopped reading the individual comments. I would get my get a sealed envelope, and there would be 60 comments in there and the sheet on top. I would look at the sheet on top and I would see, are there areas that I can improve in? You know, how am I doing? And I would study that quite carefully. The other, I would shred them. I would never read them. So I'm just warning you,
yeah,
that if you get 100 reviews, I guarantee it, there'll be 1 or 2 or 3 that will say Jeff Moody sucks.
yeah, I mean, I semi get it. Like even, the lectures, there's the one lecture there was there's a group of kids students. I keep saying kids all the time. But they're in the corner and they're looking at their phone and they're laughing and
Yeah. So I can give you a little bit of a pointer on that too, if you want, because I have been a prof for many years. I don't do it anymore. But when I would have students behave like that, I would stop lecturing and I would turn to them very politely and I say, hey, you guys, listen, I know you're paying attention to your phones and there's some good stuff there that you have to pay attention to. Can you just take it outside of the class? I'm okay with that, but not in the class. So I had one hard and fast rule for the 20 years that I was teaching. When I'm talking, you're not. And when you're talking, I'm not. At one point in my first year or 2 of teaching, there were 2 or 3 big guys in the class, huge fellas, who basically said, F you, we're not leaving. They were eating their sandwiches and throwing spitballs at each other, telling each other jokes. I could hardly hear myself talk.
yeah.
And I said to them, guys, I don't mind if you want to eat your lunch or or, you know, you want to tell each other jokes, that's fine. Can you do it outside though? Not in here, because there's, 60 other students who would hopefully like to listen to this lecture, but you don't have to stay. It's university. You can leave. They basically told me to F off. So I just stood there and I said, well, I am not going to continue to lecture and try and talk over you guys. I'm just not. I'm not. So I'm going to just sit here now, and I'm going to read my notes and think about my next lecture. But you guys can talk, and I'll just sit here. We're supposed to. It was a 2-hour lecture. I said I'll sit here for the next hour and 50 minutes. And then I'll go home. And they started swearing at me. So they were like, these guys were crazy, And eventually what happened was some of the other big guys in the classroom went over to them and said, hey, you motherfuckers, get the fuck out. I can't say that, right? You can't say that to students. But other students can say that. And these guys, like 5 or 6 of them went over and said, get the fuck out. And then there was I thought I was going to have to call security or maybe the city police. But eventually the 3 lads left, and they never came back to the class. I went to see the dean and the vice dean, and I said, I've got these 3 students. They can't come back to my class. We're going to have some kind of fight in the classroom, which is unacceptable. And I reported the incident, and I thanked the other students. And we had a great year. But I think, you have to be very calm, and you have to be very friendly. You have to be very professional. You can't lose your temper.
No.
You can't swear at people in the classroom. That you can't do as a professor. You have to
No.
you have to use gender neutral language, right? So a manhole is now a sewer cover, right? You can't call it a manhole. A man door isn't a man door anymore. It's a person door.
For sure. Yeah.
It's not mankind, it's humankind. It's not
Yeah.
manpower or man hours, it's person hours. Right? You have to be careful. Do you have any women in those 100 students?
Yeah, there's a couple. I mean, it's a very diverse student population.
I
A lot of
understand that.
internationals. Like, I don't know if you know, well, I don't know how well you know Toronto. Like
Oh,
Humber,
yeah. I mean, it's like 50% are immigrants, I think.
I would say over that. So like, and then Humber College is in the not nicest area. So you get a lot of, there's a lot of inner city kids.
Yeah. But you as the professor have to understand if there's 3 kids that are acting up, there's probably 97 who actually are there to learn a trade.
For sure. So I guess they're like, what I'm saying is, if you told me that 3 or 4 of them are in some sort of gang, it wouldn't surprise me.
So that's why you have to be very polite. You don't want to get knifed.
No.
But you can say to them, look guys, I get it. There's stuff on your phone you got to attend to.
For sure.
And these are important things to you. I understand. Just take it outside, and when you're finished, you can come back. Right?
Yeah.
You have to set the tone, otherwise you'll have a shitty year.
For sure. And I guess that's weighing on me too, like and I know it shouldn't, but it's like, it's also kind of weighing on me how to build the business out, because in my mind, it's like 2 different things. If I have this professor job versus not, yeah.
So look,
I have a bunch of excuses. That's all I have, Bruce.
no, it's okay. I mean, Jeff, you are going to get there. I am sure of it. It's just that I have to light a fire under you. That's all.
For sure.
Now, hang on. We haven't got much time left. I want to make sure I point out a few other things. You talked about having a networking group.
Yep.
One of the simplest ways to do it is Facebook. It's free.
Yeah.
I've got the ROI group, the Real Estate Investors group.
Oh, is that yours?
Yeah. It's a private group. It's got 515 members. It's not a big group, but it can't be any easier. It's free, and you can sell something. You can start a discussion. You can see other members. But I am the moderator, and if people want to join the group, then I have to let them in, right?
Yeah, no, I was thinking because it would help for the subcontracting
Yeah,
stuff.
it's a great idea, but you can start a private Facebook group. It's so simple. Call it whatever you are gonna call it, and all the small HVAC contractors can join, right? And they can
Yeah,
support each other. So if you had a small HVAC contractor Facebook group and you had, I don't know, 40 members, and somehow or other you got $100,000 contract and you need help. I mean, there's your group, right? You say, hey, listen, I've got $80,000 worth of work I can't do myself. Is there anybody out there who has a little spare capacity, some extra techs that can work with me on this?
yep. One
So,
last question.
yeah, go ahead.
This guy that I'm subcontracting for, or
Yeah.
soon to be, he wants to sell his business.
Wow. How old is he?
He's 75. I can't believe he's doing what he's doing. He
What's
has a
what's his first name?
Paul.
Okay.
He's been doing this for 25 or 30 years. I think the company's 30 years old. He told me he would never sell it. He would sell his business, but whoever he sells it to has to buy his building.
Well, where is his building?
Pickering.
How far away is that from Uxbridge?
It's half an hour. It's ideal. It's like a commercial complex. It's anyways, it's Pickering. So I used to know a guy that worked for him, and I knew that he's been trying to sell it. The conversation was like, oh, you come and subcontract with me, then we can kind of get to know each other, blah, 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 blah. My question is like, I know you've said before, like like why buy something when you can build it? But like, would you ever entertain something like that?
Okay, stop for a second. Way to bury the lead.
Bury the lead. What do you mean?
Okay, so let's say we had a 2-hour conversation, you and I, and then said, oh, by the way, I wanted to tell you, Jeff, that I murdered somebody last week. I didn't like them.
Oh,
I haven't liked
I
them
got what
for
you're
30 years. So I went out and I offed the sucker. Well, that's called burying the lead, right? If you were my
Okay.
coach and you said, Bruce, is there anything, 2 hours ago, you said, is there anything you're worried about? Oh, no, nothing. And then at 2 hours and 1 minute later, I say, oh, yeah, by the way, I murdered this son of a bitch 2 weeks ago. I thought I should mention that. That's called burying the lead, right?
Okay.
Or let's say you have a nice dinner with your wife, nice 2-hour dinner at a fancy restaurant, lots of wine, everything's going so well. And she said, oh, by the way, Jeff, I want a divorce.
Yeah.
That's called burying the lead.
Got it.
Okay? You got it? You just
Yeah.
did that to me. All right. So let's go to Google Maps. And I got plenty of time for you because this is crucial stuff. We got to get this stuff. Okay, where is this place in Pickering?
It's either 18, they're both the same. It's a commercial condo, 1885 or 1895 Clements Road.
How do you spell it?
CLEME. There, it popped up, that one.
Wow, that's amazing. Fucking Google. All right, let's go see what it looks like.
The other side of the road. So it's a commercial complex. There's two of them side by side.
So it's this, right?
Yeah, it's one of the buildings in there.
Oh, he owns the whole building?
No. He owns a unit.
Okay, how big is the unit?
I don't know. I don't know if it's a double one. Like it's at the back. If you go to the back.
Yeah, it's okay. I mean, I'm looking at it. Okay. So he's got a commercial condo there. He's got a business that's 25 or 30 years old.
Yep.
And he wants to sell it.
Yeah.
Okay. So a couple things I've learned about you is that.
And look how many air conditioning companies are in this.
Yeah, I see it. Yeah, I can see that.
There's 3 or 4 actually.
Oh, there's probably more that aren't even, mentioned here. But something I know about you now, Jeff, is that you like something well ordered and, you know, laid out, right? That's something, you know, like there are people out there, I'm one of them, that are better to start a business from scratch than to buy somebody else's business, because I would be terrible at fixing somebody else's business. There are other people who would be terrible at starting their own business and are really good at taking other people's businesses and making them even better. I suspect that you're in that category and I'm in the former category. Would you agree with that?
So, yeah, so you said it a very nice way. I'll say it bluntly. You're a visionary and I'm a visionary, or
So there are two words there, visionary and functionary.
there you go. Yeah.
And functionary is not an insult. It is not. As you know, ideas are very abundant and they're cheap. When you know, there's no limit to the number of ideas out there. There's lots of ideas. Ideas are useful, but by themselves, without execution, they're not useful at all. And so when you have the expertise that you have to actually do shit, that's very valuable. So when you combine the visionary, which is me, with the functionary, which is you, that's a good combination. But the visionary by himself, without the ability to execute, is not very useful. And the person who can execute without having any vision is not very useful. If you think about Steve Jobs at Apple,
I was actually going to say
that
his
guy
number,
had vision,
but the number two,
he also knew how to execute.
but didn't he have a number two that's
Yes,
kind of,
oh yeah, for sure. The guy who's currently heading up Apple was his guy. So Steve, right on. He was the visionary, and the guy who's currently the CEO was the functionary, if you will. So you need both, and that's why I think you and I are a good combination. Now, having said that, I think buying his commercial condo and his business might be a very good thing for you. One of my coaching clients, he's an engineer. He's very similar to you. He's very good at executing, not so strong on the vision side. Okay, that's okay. And he bought a septic installation business from another client of mine who was about the same age as this guy, but 75 or 76. And there was, you know, the excavators, the trucks, the loaders, the dozers, all the stuff that he needed. There was quite a big piece of land and there were some buildings on it. So my client, his first name was Alex, bought the whole shebang, and it was quite expensive. I think it was about 1.7 or 1.8 million, but he only had to put down 10%, and the seller, who was also my client, provided the rest of the financing. So Alex didn't even have to go to the bank. And that company was doing about $3 or $4 million a year in revenues, and it sold for, I think, including the equipment, for about 1.7 million. And there was a hell of a lot of equipment there. So I would think that there was at least a million two for the equipment and the buildings, and then there was another 500,000 for goodwill and all the rest of that. So if this guy would consider, you know, allowing you to, first of all, work with him, see if you like the business and like him, and B, if he would provide most of the financing, that might be very interesting.
yeah, sorry, I got to move to plug my computer in here.
Okay.
Yeah, I know you got to go. I just, and the other thing is all these options or opportunities, Bruce, are kind of another, like,
Well, you don't have to do anything other than just go and work for him 2 days a week and see how it goes.
no, I know, that's what I'm gonna do.
But I think if he brings it up again, you should say, look, I'm open to it. Let's get to, you know, let's get engaged before we get married.
Well, and that's it, and that's kind of the conversation, me being a subcontractor for him, I go, if anything goes, whatever, like, there's
Yeah,
no
yeah. So
ties.
I am strongly encouraging you to do the 2 days a week with him, with Paul, and to get to know his business. But if he's serious about selling it, I'll help you structure the deal that's fair to you, but also fair to him. And, you know, and you could buy an existing business as long as he's providing most of the finance. You're not going to the bank for that.
No, no. Unless you put me on to him, that guy from what is it, BDC?
Yeah, nothing wrong with that, but he should provide most of the financing. He should. He's the seller, and he, you know, typically what he would do is Paul would give you 1 or 2 years of occasional guidance as you become the owner, and you would pay him over time. It would either be 2 or 3 years to as much as 5 or 6 years. So
Yeah, some sort
typically,
of
that's how long it would take you to pay him back.
in earn out, essentially.
An earn out. And from his point of view, if he likes you and trusts you, which I'm sure he will, that's the easiest, fastest way to do it. He could retire tomorrow, spend time in Arizona, spend time in Florida, let you do all the work. That's a great opportunity. But a couple other things I wanted to mention to you before we break off. I think you should consider, and I think I wrote you an email on it, but I think you should consider having, hopefully I've got it here somewhere. Hang on. No, maybe I don't. I had it open, but I think you should consider becoming a territorial sales agent for these guys. And I think I mentioned it to you before, but I wanted to bring it up again.
I heard they're going to Dragon's Den.
Yeah, I didn't know that. That's cool. So these guys are producing, I think, probably the best tiny home on the market. It's Humble Creek Tiny Homes. I'll put this in the chat box so you get it. Did you take, by the way, did you take, sorry, I'll have to stop sharing again. Did you take a note of the address of the Kempful guy?
I got his email, or sorry, his website. I pulled it up.
Okay, you did. All right. Okay. So if you can copy out of the chat box that URL, that's Humble Creek. And
I think you sent it, or you did send it to me.
I'm sure I did, but anyway, there it is again. Okay. And what I wanted to say is this. This is probably the best time. I coach 2 tiny home companies in the States and 2 in Canada. And this is probably the best design yet of a tiny home. It's really fantastic. It's almost 500 square feet. It is really an extraordinary place. It's got a beautiful bathroom, a nice living area, kitchen area. There's the master bedroom. It's got these patio doors here on the right. You know, nice kitchens, bathrooms, furniture, fit up. But here is the layout. So this is the main door. There's the patio doors. There's a sofa bed. This is a table which serves both as a work area and as a lunch counter. You've got your fridge here, your cupboard here. There's your kitchen, stacked washer and dryer. Then I like this. You've got the bedroom over here. That's a master bedroom over here with a cheater ensuite. So it's, again, it's another double loaded bathroom. So you can get to the bathroom from the living area. And also if you have to get up in the middle of the night, go to the bathroom, you can from the bedroom without going into the area. Then they've got the cubby stairs, which goes upstairs to the loft, and you can have a double bed and a single bed up there. So you can sleep 4 or 5 people in this unit comfortably. And guess what? I think in the next 3 weeks, they're going to get this thing approved by the city of Ottawa as a backyard coach house.
Wow.
Wow. So you'll be able to roll this thing into your backyard. And you have to put it on screw piles so that it can be, you know, assessed for property taxes. But you keep the wheels on there. You just jack it up, put it on screw piles so it's fixed to the property, and presto magic, you've got a coach house in your backyard, like pretty much instantly, right? So I asked them if they're going to do territorial sales agreements, and I think you should, you know, and you don't, by the way, that you don't even have to put this through your brokerage because it's the sale of a product. It's not real estate.
Okay.
So they're going to give 5%. It's about $195,000 or $200,000 purchase, and they're going to give 5% plus HST as a referral fee. So I think, again, I don't want to interfere. If you don't want to do it, forget it. But I think you could sell a ton of these in your area. They're beautiful. They're the best, I think, of the type. And you can get $10,000 checks every time you sell one.
No, it sounds great. 100%. I'm struggling with, there's all these opportunities, Bruce.
Hey, listen, again, it's just my job as your coach to open
No, I
it,
know.
and then you can say, I hate this idea. That's okay with me.
I don't hate it. I think it's a great idea. Maybe it's back to the last conversation we had about being what did you call it? A functionalist or something?
A functionary.
A functionary.
Visionary, functionary.
Yeah, where I'm trying to be a function. I know I need to be a functionary and just kind of, instead of having 10 things on the go, prioritize.
No, I agree. But I would not be doing you a favor if I didn't at least tell you that this opportunity exists. And I think, you're 45 minutes from Toronto. Listen, you've got the URL, right?
Yeah, you sent it to me. Yeah, I
Yeah.
know. I think it's a great product.
So if you're not interested, just tell me. But
I am interested.
just that I think that to me, RBM Group, I say it right?
Yep.
RBM Group, could have a number of products. It could have heating, ventilation, and air conditioning products. It could have air quality monitoring. It could have a lot of things. But there's no reason why our RBM Group can't be involved in more, right? Like it just, to me, you have a website, and by the way, we also sell real estate solutions. I'm
sure.
not saying you should include it, but I just think that if you couldn't sell one a month, I'd be disappointed. And if you could get a check for $10,000 every time you sold one, and you sold one a month, that would help too.
100%. There's all these different paths, and I need to de-scramble.
Listen, we've beaten our record for length of time here, and we've covered a hell of a lot of stuff. And I think we made some progress here. But I need to hear from you more often, Jeff, because this coaching thing can be very, very helpful. But I'm really concerned when you tell me, as you have now at least twice on this call, that you have zero income or close to it.
Oh, I had income from teaching the last 4.
Yeah, I understand. It's a little bit of income, but I just think if you're going to get some income from your 2 days of subcontracting with Paul, that's great.
And then tomorrow, like yesterday, I did an air conditioning disconnect, and tomorrow I have a full day.
All right. I just want to make
hours.
sure that we are not just spinning our wheels, you and I, because I don't want to do that as your coach. And it's really concerning to me that for your mental well-being, that you are making some measurable progress, which means money.
For sure. I need to pick a lane and go with it.
Right. I'll leave it to you. So I want you to think about this. I've recorded this whole damn thing. It'll be on YouTube. I need to hear from you early next week how you're doing. Okay. I don't want a daily report, but I think I want a weekly summary. It doesn't have to be long. I want a weekly report from you. This is what I'm doing. This is how I'm earning money. I'm making money doing these 2 things, or 1 thing, or 10 things. I don't care. I want to hear that you're making some money. Not just thinking about making money. It's really important. Your wife will love me for it, and you will be happier. I got to go.
Thanks, Bruce. I appreciate it.
And I'll report to you after I talk to Scott. Okay?
Sounds good. Thanks.
See ya.